Hi, it's Karen here. Welcome to number 7 in my Stampin' Up! Basics series of videos. Today we're going to look at mounting the Stampin' Up! Stamp sets. This is how your stamp sets will arrive when they come in your order. In pieces. With the rubber stamps, the blocks, and underneath the blocks the label sheet. Okay. There are three reasons why Stampin' Up! Have their stamps unmounted. One is because a lot of people prefer to keep them that way. Two is in the past I have had stamps that have been mounted on an angle, haven't been cut closely enough, and retain ink, and that you can mount the stamps exactly as you want them this way. And also 50% of the cost of a mounted stamp is actually the cost of somebody mounting the stamps for you, so it is a fabulous cost saving. Now all the stamps now, or the newer stamp sets, come die cut, and they just push out of the stamp set like this. This stamp set I'm using is a current Hostie set called Organic Grace. And they just push out of, with a little bit of care, just push out of the rubber like this. Now what I like to do first is actually place the rubber over the wood blocks, just to make sure before I race off and mount them that I'm not mounting them on the wrong wood blocks. And there we go. So to start off with, I like to take the label, the Organic Grace label, and mount that on the end of my box. Now I choose to mount it on the end of my box rather than the side, because that's actually how I stack my boxes. Okay, so what you do now, or what I do, is I'm going to take the label for the dragonfly. I'm going to place it on the block. I like to have my stamp centered, but how you place it is entirely up to you. Pull the adhesive backing off the stamp, turn it over, side by side like that, turn it over, and also mount the stamp in the center. And then pop it away in its box. And that's what I'm going to continue to do later with the rest of the Organic Grace stamp set. Now, in the current New Zealand and Australia catalogue, there are still some stamp sets that use the old square mount system. And this is where the stamps come as before, but not trimmed. And in this case, what I do is I break the rubber apart. This is a stamp set called Seeing Spots. And in this case, I actually place the blocks on top of the wood mounts before I cut them, to make sure that the right stamps are going on the right blocks. So I'm going to take that one there, just move the others out of the way. I am going to take my craft and rubber scissors. Now the reason these are very good for cutting rubber is the solid blades. They do not need to be sharp. One thing to remember when cutting your rubber stamps is to keep your blades absolutely straight. Cut curves, and you can see I'm cutting very close to the image, but cut curves as a series of short straights. Do not curve, otherwise you'll angle your scissors and cut into your mounting foam. So I'm just cutting in straight lines as close as I can get to the image, because you also don't want any narrow flimsy bits which make it just a little bit more difficult to stamp. And I do have a tendency to like to cut corners off. Just does make it easier to stamp with the set. And in this one I will also cut a V in there. The less excess rubber you've got, the less chance of getting excess ink on your project. So here is the stamp for this one. Same as before, placing it in the center of the block, removing the adhesive backing, lining it up, remembering that it's going to be left right out, so you're sort of lining it so she sits about there, turning it around like that, and you're just seeing that it just needs a little nip to take that excess piece of rubber and foam off there, and she's sitting beautifully. And one way to check it is to put a thumb and finger on it to sit like that, and this one here also just needs a little bit of an extra trim. And that is close, but it's sitting beautifully on its block, and then it also goes back into the folder. That goes in the rubbish, and the other pieces go away for me to mount later. I hope that helped you with the stamp mounting process. If you have any questions, please contact me.